Hello and welcome back to Phoenix Wright, the Ace Trilogy. Oh shit, let me turn this down, it's a bit too loud at the minute. There we go. And we will be continuing on episode 5, Rise of the Ashes, where we're doing day 3, Trial Glatter. So without further ado, let's go. Straight into it. The court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Lana Scott. Emma didn't come back. Allow me to call the next witness to the stand. The officer in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime. Oh, it's Officer Marshall. Witness, please state your name and occupation. Me, partner? Oh, I'm just a man same as you, wandering the trails of civilization. Occasionally helping the elderly cross intersections when needed. Yes, we get it. You're a patrol. As for my name, if you listen hard enough, you can hear the howling wind calling it out. To be exact, it's Jake Marshall, your howling wind. Never heard Edward described that way before. Now, Mr. Marshall, let me ask you something. You were in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day the crime took place. Is this correct? According to the papers, partner. What do you mean? Desperado's soul is as boundless as the desert sand. No paper can sum it up. Maybe it's best we get on with this quickly. Please share with us your testimony of the day of the crime. In plain old English. My job was to keep a wary eye on that bone orgy. They said I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems anyway. If I remember right, I was at a street side saloon at the time it went down. I'm just an innocent traveling man, so if you're out of ammo, it's time to hit the trail. I can't say I particularly care for your attitude. I can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. Wait a minute. What do you mean by 2 security systems? I mean the security cameras and the ID card. I reckon even a cowpoke like you knows about those. Yes, well, what about the fingerprint activated locks on the evidence lockers? Fingerprint activated locks? What kind of newfangled doohickeys are those? I am butchering this accent, by the way, and I apologise if anyone gets offended. He's not that good with machines or with following orders. Everyone's got their weaknesses, now don't they, Mr. Prosecutor? This one seems like trouble. Okay, Mr. Wright, he's all yours. I am butchering it. I apologise in advance. If anyone takes offence, I apologise. How exactly did you keep an eye on the evidence room? I just made sure nothing moved in the security camera monitor. That room's so still. Even time dies in there. I was just a caretaker who interred the recordings. You interred them? Videos of nothing aren't that useful. When the time would come, I'd erase the tape. If nothing unusual was recorded, tapes are to be erased every 6 hours. Each time I'd erase a tape, I felt like I was erasing a part of my life. This guy has a flair for the dramatic. So in actuality, you don't physically enter the evidence room? But you made your rounds on the day of the crime, right? Ain't you heard a word I said, partner? I told you that ain't my style. I'm afraid I don't understand. No desperado I know lets rules get in his way. No desperados I know join the police. So, Officer Marshall, on the day of the crime, just between you and me, I didn't set foot in the evidence room that day. There was a rubber glove stuck in the victim's locker. Do you know anything about that? Sorry, partner, can't say I do. You're a liar. I already know the answer, but I'm gonna press these. You used to be a detective, so you've used the evidence room in the past, correct? Of course. Back in the day, my locker was a gold mine of evidence. And yet you didn't know about the fingerprint locking mechanism. Sorry, partner, I ain't good with machines. I couldn't even tell you how a bike works. The sensors on the locker handles cannot be seen. It's well known that some detectives are unaware of their presence. Yeah, because Gumshoe's dumb. I already know the answer. What were you doing in a place like that? I was eating spaghetti. Not even Angel's steak lunches could beat that parlour's Vongol sepia pasta. You mean to tell us you abandoned your police duties to eat some noodles? Not all desperados eat tacos, partner. That's not what I meant. I hope this has at least taught you a lesson. That's strange. This is usually where Edgeworth says. Do you not want to raise this year? Out of ammo, Officer Marshall. That's right, partner, or as you'd call it, evidence. If you plan to pin me to this crime, then you'd better draw. Otherwise, you're just wasting my time. One thing seems clear. Despite being responsible for guarding the evidence room, the witness doesn't appear to have seen anything. Texans don't take orders from anyone. Everyone knows that. Right. Okay. Present his fingerprint. Officer Marshall, doesn't it strike you as that is you being called in to testify like this? After all, you weren't in the security room at the time of the crime, and yet you dragged me down here. Explain yourself, partner. It's quite simple. You left a very large trail behind at the scene, or to be exact, a handprint. Listen real good, partner. Like I said, I'm the caretaker of that court. I pay my respects, daddies make my rounds about once a month. It's only natural my fingerprints would be in there. I only wish it were, officer. But you see, your fingerprints were covered in blood. Witness, what's the meaning of this? Your blood-stained fingerprints were at the crime scene. The blood was wiped away, however, a luminol test clearly revealed it. Well, Officer Marshall, it seems to me there ain't a person in this room with a head on his shoulders. I take it you have an explanation, then, Officer Marshall, about the blood-stained fingerprints. Very well, you may begin your testimony about your fingerprints found at the scene of the crime. If I must. Here it goes. Like I said, it's only natural for my fingerprints to be in that evidence. One of them just happened to be at the same place as the bloodstained handprint. The murderer touched the locker where my fingerprint was by chance. The bloodstain and the fingerprint completely unrelated. But did you know the murderer was wearing gloves? See, I had nothing to do with it. The witness's explanation appears valid, although there's room for doubt. Life wouldn't be fun without any doubt, partner. The defense may now cross-examine the witness. Now's my chance to prove it. I'm going to have to go through them all again. That's because you, how did you put it, pay your respects once a month. Yeah, that's right. And one more thing. That locker happens to be mine. What? What do you mean? I mean what I said. That locker I used when I was a detective, the locker I still use. All that's in there now, though, is a heap of broken bones. I see. It'd be strange if my prints worked over that long. Apparently his fingerprint date was never removed from the locker's program. Well, it's been updated. So then, what about the bloody ham? Wasn't man, it's no mystery. Please explain. My locker is covered with my fingerprints. It just so happened. That's just a coincidence, of course, eh? Idiot. Chances of that happening are 1,000,000 to 1. On the contrary, one could argue just the opposite. The chances of that not happening are 1,000,000 to 1. Get one thing straight, partner. You ain't gonna get no reward for me with a mere fingerprint. You wanna know why? Unrelated. They're as different as night and day. Kinda like cereal and cereal. One's got to do with breakfast while the other's a type of murder. He's right, although seemingly alike, they're totally different. I don't see what homonyms have to do with this. Homonyms. How do you know that? I may be a loner, but I still do my job. Keep up on the report. There was a bloodstain at the scene, though, thought to be left by the murderer. That's right. It was found in Detective Gumshoe's locker. However, no fingerprints were detected on that hand. Oh yeah, I think he tried that too. So that would be a murderer wearing boots. It took place now. It took off Officer Marshall's fingerprint. That's the only logical clue. Are you starting to get the picture, partner? The picture, this seal of blood in the desert, it's just food for the buzzards. There's only one reality, and that's this. The security tape. So long as my trial isn't in there, you can't say otherwise. This isn't getting us anywhere, Mr. Wright. Please consider carefully where you're going with this cross-examination. Yes, Your Honor. Now then, continue your testimony, Officer Marshall. Ah, too bad it wasn't me. What do you mean by that? You want to tie me to this crime, isn't that right, partner? If so, that video is the only direct evidence you have. And that video is next to useless. It's full of blind spots. A place you can't see. The camera's panning back and forth. The floor isn't shown. If someone was familiar with the camera's position, they could leave the room without being caught on tape. Objection! We don't have time for your speculations, Mr. Wright. Well, Mr. Wright, if you can show us evidence in this video that indicates Officer Marshall was present, please do so now. Very well. Allow me to point out your mistake, Officer Marshall. Tread carefully, Mr. Wright, or you might wind up being the one making the mistake. Now then, let's have another look at the video. Oh Christ, yeah, I forgot. This case is full of this video. Let's fast forward it. It's the cloth. It's the cloth that gets put under his hangs out of his locker. Because at this point he's hiding there. Bringing our attention back to the security camera is a mistake I'm afraid you'll soon not forget, Officer Marshall. The days are short in Texas, and so are our tempers. Could you sum up what you have to say in 8 words or less? Very well. You can clearly be seen in this video. That's 7. Huh. Exactly 8 words. Not bad, partner. The key lies in a certain locker shown in the video. That locker with the white cloth sticking out. That was the witnesses, I believe. Now then, let's rewind the video a bit. Do we have to? Oh, the white cloth, it's gone. What's the meaning of this, Officer Marshall? When the crime took place, the white cloth wasn't there. Then it suddenly appeared. There's only one explanation. Officer Marshall, you were in the evidence room at the time of the crime. What's more, you opened your locker when the camera was turned away. Order. It would seem that's the only... Hold your horse. Sorry, partner, but you got the wrong man. So what if my locker was open? That doesn't mean I'm the one who opened it. The murderer needed to hide something, so he opened the locker and stuck it in. It's not my fault he happened to choose mine. Why is everyone staring at me like I'm a wanted man? This guy isn't just playing dumb. He really doesn't know. I hate to rain on your parade, but you're the only person who can open that particular locker. Oh yeah? I call you bluff. You say open that locker, now prove. A fingerprint sensor. We talked about this earlier today. The lockers can only be opened by the detective they belong to. What kind of crazy talk is this? So, Sheriff, what do you have to say in 8 words or less? I only got 1 word for you, bud. No! Order. Witness, explain yourself. If this is a joke, it's the worst I've ever heard. I assure you this is no joke, Officer Moore. Now then, please tell us what you were doing in the evidence room at the time of the crime. Olehi, please answer the question. That's alright, Officer Marshall. I believe we can figure the rest out from here. We can. Have a look at these floor plans. There was no place for someone to hide in the evidence room. Yet Officer Meekins didn't see Officer Marshall. If that's so, then where was the witness? That's right. The only possible conclusion. Well then, let's hear it. Where was Officer Marshall at the time of the crime? Oh, Christ. Is that to be the victim? Officer Marshall was standing right here. There, but that's where the victim, Detective Goodman, was. Correct, unless the man wasn't Detective Goodman. I believe the victim in the video is Officer Marshall. It was you dressed up like Detective Goodman. But that's preposterous. Officer Meekins witnessed the detective at the crime scene. Once he saw the man's face, he'd know for sure. May I point out though, that Officer Meekins did not know Detective Goodman. He also testified about the man's reaction when confronted. Something about the officer's story puzzled me. If the man had his ID card, why did he just show it? Yes, he would have needed it to enter the evidence room, so he must have been carrying it. The answer is simple. He couldn't show it. As you can see, Detective Goodman's picture is on his ID card. Oh, get it? If he showed that, his cover would have been blown. Officer Meekins would have realised that man wasn't Detective Goodman. Do you have anything to say to this, Officer Marshall? You've got quite an imagination, partner. We got a term for that. It's called circumstantial evidence. You're gonna have to do better than that to break a detective. Unless you have hard evidence, proving I dressed up as the victim? Because I particularly care for your uncooperative disposition. I can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me. Well, Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence proving beyond the shadow of a doubt? Officer Marshall dressed up as the victim. Well, I can see the fear in your eyes, Father. Seems you're the one who couldn't take the desert heat. Well, this is the one. What can I do? Looks like your lack of experience has finally been exposed. I'll pass on to you what someone told me when I was just starting out. When you've run into a wall, no place to go, return to the basics. The basics? For me, that would be what Mia used to do. I shouldn't look for proof that Officer Marshall was in disguise, but rather I should look for evidence that came about because he was in disguise. Why do you think this locker was opened in the first place? What do you mean? Oh, my throat is gone. There's no reason for Officer Marshall to open his locker at the time of the crime. Yet he did, despite the chance it might have been discovered later, as it has been. According to the defence's argument, Officer Jake Marshall dressed up as Detective Goodman at the time of the crime, and after the crime was committed, he opened his own locker for some unknown reason. The fact that a white cloth was sticking out of that locker seems to indicate that he opened it in order to put the cloth inside. Perhaps the video is the key to all our unanswered questions. Very well. Let's take yet another look at the security tape. After committing the crime, the witness opened the locker to put away the white cloth. Please show us why the witness had to open his locker. Alright, let's fast forward it. Oh! Blood on his jacket. For some reason, you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman. You entered the evidence room, though I don't know what end yet. However, something unexpected happened. Officer Meekins barged in on you. When asked to show your ID card, you pulled a knife on him. However, Officer Meekins panicked, and the white coat you were wearing was soiled with blood. A bloody white coat. You couldn't just walk out like that. So you hid the coat in your locker. Not bad, partner. Are you admitting it? Now then, Officer Marshall, are you ready to tell us the truth? Looks like I underestimated you. I hope you're happy now, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, if you were only half as persistent then as you are today, we all wouldn't have to be here now, would we? Officer Marshall, tell the court what you did, all of it. Alright, seems the time has come. I had to do it today. I couldn't just stand by and let it die. I stole the detective's ID and dress license. I planned to take out the evidence. I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins. I knocked him out. I managed to escape. I knew which areas wouldn't be caught on the camera. There wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15. So the supposed victim was really you. But there's one thing I still don't understand. Traces of a large quantity of blood were found on the floor of the evidence room. If no one was murdered, then how could that be? Officer Meekins managed to cut his own hair. My guess is he's the donor. Alright. When you say it, you mean, do you even have to ask, partner? 2 years have passed since that case was closed. It was going to completely end transfer all that debt. Not if I have anything to do with it. Addington was not over. But what did you hope to accomplish by sneaking into the evidence room? When the case is closed, only that case is leave the case and look through the evidence. I wanted to have a look at it myself one more time, no matter what. I don't care what anyone says about that case in mine. Why did you care so much about it? So that's why you dressed it to pay it to Goodman. Why did you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman? If I didn't make it look like Goodman was carrying out the evidence transfer, I'd be arrested for stealing evidence, which wouldn't get me anywhere. So you did it to fool the security and the detective's ID card. I stole that the morning of the incident. So that really was why Goodman started filling out that lost item. I returned his ID card. I left it on the floor in the prosecutor's office. So essentially, you managed to succeed despite your lack of force. What do you mean? I mean the fingerprint activated locker code. No matter how well you disguise yourself, you can't change your fingerprint. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't have been able to open that locker yourself. That means Detective Goodman must have opened the locker before Officer Wright. Interesting. Wonder if they were in cahoots. Let's just say I was a little surprised. I only planned on being in the evidence room for no more than 5 minutes. I didn't think anyone would actually come in during that short time. Mistaking a detective for an intruder and demanding to be shown his ID. I'll have to think a little more about his raise this year. When did Edward get so much influence? But anyway, he threw himself at me and I ended up cutting him slack. I'm sorry I had to turn out that way. For me knocking him out and everything. Oh, you mean this one? I don't know what to say. So you knocked off some equals out and... So you did your research before? Those who go into the desert unprepared don't live long, pardon. I didn't think it would make a difference though. The security tape is erased every 6 hours. If all had gone as planned, no footage would have been left. However, you bloodied your coat in your struggle with Officer Mealy. If someone was in the security room where I come out, the jig would have been it. I opened my locker and stashed it in. What else? He was sleeping like a baby. So what you're saying is on that day, but the blood found at the scene certainly indicates a crime took place. What are you, blind? The victim shown on that tape is me and I'm not dead yet, pardon. So you stole the evidence from the locker. Actually, no I didn't. Why not? When I opened the locker, the evidence was already gone. It's still missing. Detective Goodman's locker was already empty. Someone else stole the evidence. Yeah, Goodman. Officer Marshall, may I ask you one thing? Fire away, partner. It's a free country. Just remember, I'm also free to decide whether or not to enter. Why did you do this? Stealing a detective ID, injuring a police officer. This is no small offence. Moreover, you're an officer yourself. This will have serious consequences. Can't just be forgiven with a simple cut in salary. Like I say, this isn't your problem. This one is mine. And I'll do anything it takes to get an answer I'm satisfied with. But this is unusual. What you see? Let's hear more. More? That case was sold 2 years ago, wasn't it? It's the reason the evidence was stored in the evidence room. Joe Park was convicted for his crime. One thing I can say for sure is he deserves his sentence. I remembered the Joe Dart involved serial murder. I don't intend to complain about how it turned out. There's something that's still fine. Something went down at that point. Something no one would talk. I don't know. That's what I'm trying to find out. Why is he so concerned with that incident? Maybe I should present him with what I think his real reason is. Everyone involved here was related in some way to that. I'd better take another look at the file. Okay. Okay, I know what the answer is here. It's the files. Yeah. Officer Marshall, I think I understand. I think I know why you care so much about the SL9 incident. Sounds like you've been slipping too much cactus juice, partner. The name Marshall is mentioned in here. In a list of murder victims. Neil Marshall. Are you related to this man? Neil Marshall. Yeah, I'm sure you've heard of the name. 2 years ago, he received the same lousy prosecutor award you got. He must be talking about the King of Prosecutors award. Now I remember. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He handled the SL9 case before I did. That's right. He was killed. The case fell into your hands. But what's his relation to you? He was my brother. He was investigating the murder of Damon Gann, the then deputy chief of police. The group of detectives I was part of worked under him. We were desperate to prosecute the case. Joe Dart, my brother thought he was killed. That was the first time Dart left behind any evidence. That was all we needed. He was arraigned and incarcerated. The case was finally closed. At least according to the public record. What do you mean? My brother couldn't have been killed by Joe Dart. I knew my brother better than anyone. No one could have beaten him in a fight. And that's it? That's your reason for your insane action? There's more to my brother's death than what the records say. No matter how much you try to hide it, you can't fool me. Well, at least one thing's for certain. Now we know what happened at the police department on the day of the crime. That was the last day the SL9 case could be reopened. Not satisfied with its resolution, Officer Marshall planned to steal the evidence. Disguising himself as Detective Goodman, he entered the entrance. Officer Meekins confronted him, so he became unconscious and fled. Yes, this mystery has finally been cleared up. No murder took place at the police department that day. The things that happen by chance never cease to amaze. At exactly the same time as the murder was prosecuted on, this fake murder was going on at the police department. Chance, it's got to be more than just that. But no one was murdered at the police department on the day of the crime. That means the murder in the prosecutor's office parking lot was the real. Which in turn means only one person could have committed the crime. Chief Prosecutor Lana Scott. You're back here again? But wait, a verdict wasn't reached in yesterday's trial. Which is why we examined the incident at the police department today. But there's only one reason the defendant was not convicted yesterday. There yet remains a mystery of the simultaneous murders. It seems to me this boys up to draw a new card. All of the mysteries that the police department has been resolved, no doubt about it. So murder took place at the prosecutor's office. The only suspect is Lana Scar. The testimony of one Miss Angel Star is completely incontestable. If you have a response, make it a single word. I rest my case. Seems that trial has reached its conclusion. There's no room for that. Well done, Mr. Wright. Thanks to you, but it is always my time. Disproving the alleged murder at the police department. There's no doubt what I proved today is true. The apparent murder on the security camera's tape really was fake, but I didn't realise that would end up proving Lana guilty. Now then, the time for the verdict of the right. This court finds the defendant. Oh, Your Honour. Wait, Emma. The defense has an objection. A scientific objection. Right? What do you mean, right? Mr. Wright. Are you this girl's god? In a sense. Please hear me out. Mr. Edgeworth, please. I don't want to leave any loose ends. You want a minute? I'll give you 3. I was kind of in shock. Finding out the SL9 incident referred to as Joe Dark. Now that she mentioned it, the names of both Star Sisters were in the file. And that's when I figured it out. What Officer Marshall was trying to do that. So I knew his fingerprint had nothing to do with the crime. That left only one thing. The other hand. You mean the traces of blood found in the Detective Johnson's locker? No fingerprints were found on the track. No, as I figured if I examined it scientifically, I'd be sure to find a clue. So I ran over there and looked at it again. So did you find something? No. Huh? Sorry, I guess I'm not much of a scientific investigator after all. Is that all? Please don't be mad. I'm just a high school student. And I'm just an attorney. But Mr. Wright, those traces of blood are the only clue we have. We can't find something wrong with you. Please, Mr. Wright, you're a professional. If anyone can save Lana, me. Oh boy. Time's up. Now then, Mr. Wright. With regard to the incident of the police car, is there any reasonable doubt we made? This defense is troubled by the other blood. Looking at the floor plans, a handprint was discovered around here. Is there a problem with this? Mr. Wright, I'm sorry I can't be of more use, but still, if you can't find anything wrong with that blood, Lana will be. We don't have all day. Yes, Your Honour. What could be wrong with that input in Detective Johnson's locker? Could there be something I'm missing?
Objection!
This handprint left at the crime scene clearly shows a contradiction. The only thing that seems clear is your grasping, Mr. Wright. You've been staring pretty intently at those floor plans. Tell me, is there a problem with them? Yes, this is true. Take a good look at these floor plans. Something's missing. Missing? You mean something hasn't been drawn on there? Yes, something that when drawn will completely change the meaning of the blood. Let us pray the defendant was simply trying to buy us up. Very well, Mr. Wright. There's got to be something I can use. Question it. Which item can prove something is missing in the floor plan? What about that piece of plywood? The blue badger mascot of the police force. Defender of truth, guardian of truth. Explain yourself, Mr. Wright. Please look at the floor plans of the crime scene. The blue badger is not here. So what happens when we put him in? This is where he was dancing at the time of the crime. Well, what? That's right. So long as the blue badger is dancing here, it would be impossible to place a handprint at this spot on the log. What? So that means... Just exactly what does that mean? It means it can't be done. What are you saying? Blood traces were undeniably found on that block. Now look at me, I didn't put it there. Still right, think it through scientifically. Emma, on that afternoon, Officer Meekins was the one who brought the blue badger to the evidence room. After he put it down, it would be impossible to leave a handprint on that lock. So that must mean this blood was left there before the blue badger was brought in. Just one moment. I will not allow such far-fetched border-dashing. It may sound far-fetched, sure, but it's only possible explanation. On February 21st, in the police department, blood was spilled not once, but twice. But how? One time was captured on the tape taken by the security. Officer Meekins cut his hand from which a trivial amount of blood fell. The problem is, the other time. Someone bled prior to the struggle shown on this tape. It had to have been Detective Goodman when he was really murdered. That's ridiculous. I refuse to accept your absurd claim. The murder portrayed in the security tape has been proven to be a fact. However, it does not explain the blood mark found on the lock. So then, assuming this murder you report really happened, when did it take place? I demand you show evidence that proves when it occurred. When the first incident occurred. To summarise, the defence claims that prior to Officer Meekins being touched by James Marshall, who was posing as Detective Goodman, another incident took place in that evidence room. That's right. The blood mark on the locker proves it. When did this first incident occur? Proof that shows when the murder took place. There's only one piece of evidence. What shows when the first crime took place? No! Ah! This is the proof. It's quite simple, you see. If it's so simple, then don't get it wrong. Huh? Oh, bollocks. I thought that was it. Shit, I was ahead. I was too ahead of the curve. Stab. The crime took place inside the evidence room, and the killer would have had to enter it. And in order to do so, an ID card would have been required. Oh, the ID card was required. So it's under the 777. Let's see. The crime took place before that time, and it would be 4:40 PM. But Miles Edgeworth, what the fuck have you done? I never would have figured you had the nerve, boy. Drop the apple with me. It doesn't take a lot to figure out. Couldn't have been me. No, I ain't getting it. I'm afraid I don't understand that. Clear from the luminal test that blood was there. However, when the second crime took place, both Officer Meekins and Officer Marshall failed to notice the blood. That means the blood from the first crime was wiped away by the real murder. I would have had just 10 minutes to murder the victim, carry his body away to clean up the blood. Fortunately, that's physically impossible. That was me. The crime must have taken place before Mr. Edgeworth took the evidence. Let's look at the chart again. 77777. Talk about a lucky number. But wait, that doesn't make sense. How could Detective Goodman have entered the evidence room? Since there's no record of his card being used beforehand, he must have entered along with the real murderer. That's the only plausible explanation. He went in with 7777777. Mr. Edgeworth, please look into this case. Find out whose ID number is 7777777. That's 172 minutes. Fortunately, I'm unable to look up the owner of that ID card. Lisa, what? Explain yourself, Dan. The ID number was someone with a rank of captain or high. Someone who was a so-called good person. We don't have the authority to require him to touch the person by identity. But that's ridiculous. Just I'm not finished talking, Mr. Wright. There is one situation in which we can be granted such authority. An official charge? You're all alive, aren't you? With your cover-ups and your fraud. That's how the prosecutor's office operates. God damn. I take pride in my work, officer. I would appreciate it if you would keep your slander to yourself. Slander, is it? Let me ask a question. Yes. No, not to you, to her. The defendant sitting over there. Your old little detective. Don't be stupid. You've been charged with murder. Of course, you can look up her ID number. It is not 7777777. Don't play me for a fool, partner. That's not what I want to know. All I want to know is one thing about that is. Answer me this, Chief Prosecutor. In that trial 2 years ago, did you really only use legitimate evidence? Do you need the witness to repeat his question, Chief Prosecutor? I heard him fine, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, I was in charge of the prosecution for that trial. At the time, we felt the powerlessness of the law. At least I did. The law became a prosecutor in order to suppress crime with the law. Before I realized it, we were the ones being suppressed by the law. I'll ask you again, Chief Prosecutor. You were in that trial 2 years ago. Did you really present all the evidence in court? Did you look me and investigator in that trial in the eye and say that you did? I don't have to, Officer Marshall. Why won't you answer it? Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to in order for him to get the verdict he deserved. But none, even if it involved forging evidence. Oh no. See, that's what I'm talking about. No. Damn, I thought, oh, everyone's gone crazy. Long as we march through such a step, chaos in the courtroom would have to wait until the following day. God damn. So Edgeworth got blamed for it all that time, and it was Lorna. That's crazy. Well, thank you for watching. I will be back next time when we will be doing the day 3 investigation. After that bombshell, we're gonna find something else out probably. Anyway, thank you, and I shall see you next time. Goodbye.